Peace to the kings and queens, your brother Tim Gray from the Melanated Medicine Podcast, and also of Great Wellness. I want to welcome you back to our new official show because we now have video to go along with all these amazing conversations. And we randomly bring cool people around who happen to just be bald like me. So he's not showing it at the moment. So we're just going to allow the brother to be cool and come back into the room. Ladies and gentlemen, I'd like to introduce you to my brother, my friend, my mellow, Mr. Ja Washington. How are you, my friend? How are you? Hold on. Let's get more. Yeah. Let's get. I'm going to use all these sound effects, baby. All of them. All right. And we do have a studio audience. So, just in case you hear random things from the behind the scenes, they are here. Mr. Ja.
Yes, sir. How you doing?
I'm going to try to make this not as awkward as it usually is because we are actually friends. So, who are you now? What are you focusing on? And what is your crowning achievement?
Who am I? So, a few things. I'm a husband now.
Oh,
I am
come on.
father.
Come on. Hold on. Come on. Yeah. All right, we got that applause. Okay, cool.
Yeah.
All right.
So father to a 5-month-old, going on 14. That's what it feels like anyway. I am a Harlem native. I'm a fitness professional. I'm a philanthropist. So I do a lot of work. But the main thing that I do is in fitness. I'm a coach. I'm a trainer. I'm a resource in my community. I really focus on making an impact in the wellness space, helping people get stronger, helping them figure out how to take care of themselves, how to make fitness a priority, and also know that it shouldn't be a luxury. It's something that you should be afforded. You should be able to do every day.
Agreed.
And it's super important to your longevity. So my studio is Harlem Kettlebell Club in East Harlem. It's super important because it's one of few strength and conditioning spaces, and people just don't have a lot of places to go to train.
Well, also, let's make sure that you're the only kettlebell.
The first and only kettlebell specific
let's
studio
talk about that one.
In Harlem and in New York City, which is dope. I like to do different things. I'm Aquarius, so
I understand. I'm a Gemini. That's why we're sitting in our studio currently.
Absolutely.
But and something that is a crowning achievement for you, outside of the obvious of having a beautiful wife and child that are both healthy and supportive in that direction. So that's something that I wanted to make sure that we get in there because the importance of the mindset, specifically for men, is the security of your mind at home.
Absolutely.
You know what I mean? So we have something that we can go out and focus on because if men don't have a priority in regards to purpose, we don't necessarily feel useful in the world.
I agree. Crowning achievement.
As of now.
I've done a lot, but what's funny? I think the main thing that I've done for myself is go to therapy.
Come on.
And that has led me to be able to have some of the success I've had and actually be able to lean into it and actually enjoy it. Knowing who I am, knowing what I'm not going to deal with, boundaries, tolerance, knowing, what I want to do, what's my direction, being able to emote and know what feelings are and be able to talk about it and not feel like it's soft. All of those things has made me into like a better human, better person.
Yes, sir.
And it has led me to just be a little more open, flexible with energy and people and time. And so I think with all of that, opportunities have started to come around that I probably wouldn't have had. So
your ability to be able to understand yourself has definitely opened up better pathways for you to be able to do your business.
Absolutely.
Because you're just a better, well-rounded person.
Yeah. And I'm in the business of people. So I got to be able to, understand me, be able to relate, hear them for what they're saying. And again, the emotions come into all of that stuff. And I think me being able to recognize how I'm feeling has just allowed me to work with people in a way different light than I ever was able to.
It's something that I can definitely empathize with just because of being a therapist for as long as I've been. Biggest part is not necessarily the skill set of my hands, it's more so my skill set of listening. And to not make the session about me at all.
Right.
Because it really, when these amazing human beings are entrusting us with their lives, they should be leaving with a value add. That they can see somebody can see them better than they can. It's just an old joke about your neighbors can see your house better than you can because you're constantly in the house.
Absolutely.
So that's where the board of the neighborhood usually comes about, and you haven't mowed your lawn or something like that.
Yeah, we're here for direction, guidance. They have tools. People know what they need to do, and we're supposed to just help them navigate, give them a blueprint, just be there to support. But I never take credit for the work that people do. I'm like, hey, I'm here to help but you have to do it. Like all those reps and sets, that's you. I'm just here to make sure that we keep things aligned, keep some order. But it's helpful in that regard.
Okay, so let's ask this question. What is something that you feel is usually missed? Because the premise of this podcast is being able to talk about things from a BIPOC lens. And as being a therapist for as long as I have, majority of my clientele, specifically in this demographic area, is primarily non-African American. Right. So it becomes even more of an essential part when people ask me, why didn't you open up your studio in Harlem? Because that's where you were born and raised. And I said, because you also deserve to be on Fifth Avenue. Yep. So being able to walk into a room and take up space, but not just from a Debo perspective, just also letting us know that we belong in all of those places, not just the places that we've been. So understanding that we're both from Harlem, come from this particular background, what is something that you've seen as a business owner in the wellness space from a person of color that you can speak to, that you've seen the good, bad, and indifferent?
Oh, man.
This wasn't going to be we ain't going to do no lowly conversations. We need to make sure we talk to the people.
No, so I think, like with most things, it's always having to work harder than everyone else just to prove that we're either the same, equal, or sometimes better.
Yeah.
So always like having to start from here while, again, white folks get to start a little bit higher up and they get to take advantage of some opportunity and this invisible knapsack that they get to walk around with that we just don't get, right? That good old privilege that comes with it. So I'm always just having to do a little bit more, and I'm fine with it. I'm a hustler. I work hard. But it's just about getting into those rooms, because when I'm in those rooms, now
it's an even playing field at that point.
And I feel very confident that I'm gonna come out on top. I think the other thing is just being recognized as a professional and someone who like a leader in the industry. So even with like content and posting, I'm trying to make sure that I'm giving direction, being helpful on social media, being helpful in the community, like being a resource. Again, things I don't know, referring out. I think that's also shows intelligence. You know when to remove yourself from a situation, an equation when you don't know what's going on.
I can agree.
Being able to know where to go is also knowledge. So if I can send someone to you, if someone needs to see a doctor, like those things are very different in terms of what they need. And so again, you become a resource, and everyone's like, okay, I can come to you and rely on you. And they send referrals.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. Because I can say from firsthand account that we've definitely received people because of your referral. But I like that they come here to recover fully, not just to get a massage.
Right.
So it goes in line with their training. So we don't want to miss out on those opportunities. Yeah. Like I said, it's a live set, so people keep walking in and out. This is what happens here. However, I want to make sure we talk about something that you did that I thought was pretty cool, and I found out by accident.
Okay.
So people know that I generally make almost every single thing that I have. If I have it, I make my own cup. That's my coffee inside of it. Shameless non-plug. But I went because I was trying to buy a new bag because I just needed one, something that was all-purpose. And we're on 16th Street and Fifth Avenue, and something that's directly across the street from the studio is Lululemon. And I walk into the Lululemon store, and it was this ominous feeling. I was like, why do I feel like something is staring at me? And it was his big mug on the wall. And then I got excited. I got excited to see one of the people I know who came from where I came from, not necessarily just from a geographical perspective, but more of a grind perspective.
Right.
I was excited that they had the wherewithal to give the recognition. I wasn't excited that you were on the wall. I expect you to be on a wall. I didn't expect for them to recognize you enough to put you on the wall. Does that make sense?
Oh, for sure. I mean, I walk in every time and I'm still like, I can't believe I'm on this wall.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Typically, Lululemon has had a history of just not being for us. And, with the ex-CEO, and it's a lot going on with that. So
let's talk about one thing specific. I want to say, we know about that for us part, but it's a part of them that was for us that I could not do, which it was even more entertaining to see him on the wall is because I couldn't fit anything. The pants were not big enough, the leggings were not big enough, and I didn't walk around with my pants being super tight. So when I knew that he could fit it and his legs are pretty much bigger than mine, I was like, oh, I'm good. That part of inclusiveness would make me feel like, oh, they have things that will fit me.
Yeah, definitely some changes. Definitely some change over the years in terms of product and who they're serving.
Right.
But yeah, to walk in and be on that wall and then be in the store shopping and people connect the dots and like, oh, that's you. Like, yeah. It's a dope feeling, man. It's again, I love being able to represent where I'm from. I love being able to look at like all the stuff I've been able to achieve.
Yeah.
And while this isn't like, that's not the most important thing for me.
Sure.
It's just one of those things. It's like wow, look where I came from.
Right. Yeah. Okay. So knowing that where you came from and the things that you've accomplished, what's something that you also know that is important to mention because we're in this field, right? And some people can misinterpret the idea of being a personal trainer and then being a performance-related trainer because they're not the same thing. Just because you may have gotten your NASMA certification or ACE or CSCS, what is a defining thing that makes you a performance-related trainer as opposed to just being a personal trainer?
I think I just look at the amount of change I'm able to give to people or at least instill in people. It becomes more than reps, sets. It becomes more than weight loss and building muscle. Like people in the studio, they're building community. They're getting each other jobs. They're becoming best of friends. They're going to brunches. They're going to dinners. They are traveling together.
No, I've actually seen your. It's pretty remarkable to watch because, I'll look up on Instagram and I'll see like it's a smorgasbord of people doing things collectively together, and it's not just because of you.
Right.
It's because of the community that has been fostered in this space that everybody just wants to continuously be amongst each other. That is a very hard thing to do.
It is, and I think that's what makes it cool is that people don't miss classes because their friends are there, right? It's a very different mindset. You almost get in shape by accident because you're like, I don't want to miss this is my Tuesday and Thursday that I get to hang out with such and such. I'm not gonna miss that because you feel like you're letting them down, and so you get in there, you start doing the work, and then all of a sudden the work gets a little bit easier, and all of a sudden things are happening. You got a muscle, and then now it just starts a nice trickle effect, and you just don't want to miss, and it becomes a lifestyle. But that community aspect and the fact that people come in there and actually genuinely want to see everyone succeed. They push each other, pick up a heavier weight, try a little bit harder, make sure you don't miss class. Like all of that allows me to just coach. I don't have to do all that extra stuff about getting you in the door. I know you're coming.
Yeah.
And it allows me to just do what I'm really good at.
That's pretty dope, though. If you get that opportunity to see that, if you guys want to come by to Harlem Kettlebell Club, please they have a myriad of different classes in there. And I'm saying this as a person who's been the DJ for some of them. The people really enjoy showing up for each other. And I appreciate that sense of belonging that they have because one of the things that we try to talk about specifically from this view is that the older you get, you lose your social circle changes.
Yep.
And your requirements change. So now that you're married and with a child and stuff like that, your home obligations change. So you actually have a tendency to forget about yourself. So when you can foster a place where people can, dual thing, meaning I'm going to get in shape, but yet and still this is good for my social battery, that is another reason why they won't miss it because you're now replacing things that they can't do because they don't go to clubs at the same pace that they used to. They don't, socialize in the same thing. So if you know that you can get something, and my opinion, the kettlebell is probably the most perfect instrument to use to get in shape.
Yeah.
Because it can do so much, and you have to be cognitive of the entire exercise, otherwise you're gonna hurt yourself.
Oh yeah.
I appreciate, and so just kudos to you for that, man.
No, I appreciate it. Yeah, kettlebells just barrier to entry is very low. People tend to walk in the gym and they want to grab the barbell, they want to grab the machines, they want to jump on stuff that is actually a little more complicated than they think, but it's what they recognize and know. And so the kettlebell is unfamiliar, and so most people are like, this is dangerous, I'm scared, and they also go on social media, which you see people flipping and juggling, and then they think that that's what they need to be doing. And it's given, like my kettlebell club has given me the opportunity to show somebody like, hey, this is a weight.
Yeah. You
do the same movements that you would typically do with any other thing. You build progressive overload, more reps, more sets, whatever it is, and you just continue to get better. And if you want to do the fancy stuff, we can get you there, but you got to have a baseline. And I think that was my goal, was to introduce it in a way where it was simple, especially coming out the pandemic where people needed simple. They needed one or two
Good
weights.
point.
And
Good
so
point.
this allowed me to like, hey, training doesn't have to be complicated. Right? You make it complicated because you see all the flash. But really, movement is 7 movement patterns.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Let's just do those. Let's hit them hard and go home.
Hit them consistently. Yep. But to the point that you just mentioned, something that just dawned on me, which I think is an important part. We talked about the accolades and the things that you've been able to accomplish, but I would like for you to share with the audience about failure and with the perspective of failure, because we don't. Only thing a failure is just more information, right? So this is not your first gym.
Not at all. won't be the last either. But yeah, failures. So I'll talk about failure in, I think, the way I present it to clients.
Okay.
We talk about trying a different weight, lifting something heavier, and they get nervous that they can't do it. And I'm like, well, failure is okay. Like all it does is tell you you're not necessarily prepared for that, but it literally tells you where you are.
That's a
53
fact.
pounds doesn't work, but 45 does. You don't know that 45 does. You got to get to 53, and then you can scale back. Most people stay comfortable. They never try hard enough, so they stay where it feels good. And I'm like, you got to go through a little adversity, right? That's life. That's a gym. But when you go through those things, it allows you to make a decision after and know exactly what you need to be doing. So for me, we had my first space, Harlem hit 2016, 2019. That place flooded on my birthday. At the gym, get a call, right? So, longer story than that, but flood. Get a new space, JTW Fit. That's 2019. We opened 6 months before a pandemic.
Yes, you did. I remember.
Fast forward, we have a landlord that wasn't that nice, and so we end up being evicted from there. So now that's 2 spaces gone. So and that put me.
But look at it. Hold on, let's not skip past that. That's 2 places in a very short period of time.
Oh yeah. For most people, that would
nail in the coffin.
They'd be done. I knew neither of those situations was any fault of my own. I do things by the books. I work super hard. I'm structured, and I'm like, all right, this isn't my fault, but it does suck.
Yeah.
And I got to figure out how to deal with it, and that's where therapy started.
Okay. All right.
Super depressed.
Did you see that loop back around to? Okay, I'm just making sure.
So at home during the pandemic, just fighting demons, and was it me? Did I fail? Like what could I have done better?
Right.
Trying to figure out relationship. Now I'm in the house with my girlfriend at the time, and we still figuring out what we doing.
Right.
And I'm trying to figure out stuff with my business partner. It was just a lot, and I was like, I can't talk to anybody that I know, and so I had to, get on the phone and get on the Zoom and figure that out. But those situations just allowed me to, one, understand real estate a lot better, understand how to deal with landlords, understand how to update my lease, how to go about negotiating. So I learned so much that when I went to open up Kettlebell Club, I had all my stuff going into the conversation. Well, I'm not dealing with ABC, and here's what I need. And it's a different conversation when you come in feeling like a little bit more authoritative and like your stuff. Yeah. They treat you a lot differently. Whether you get the space or not, they know that you're not somebody they can screw over. And I'm still looking for a new space. I have an idea to get another location because that's been an important piece. And even again, I just have more information over the years. I've been doing some reading. I go in cohorts. I'm on all these calls. Yeah. Just because I want to make sure that I got my ducks in a row. Sure. And so now when I walk into a situation, I go with my broker. Like I can list off, I need this amount of space, I want this, I want this, I want this.
So you know the square footage, you know the amount per square footage, you understand the insurance, and you also understand what the actual yield could be.
Yep, the code violations, Department of Building, you name it, I got it. I'm not dealing with, I only make a mistake once.
Well, that's the reason why you needed that mistake, though. So that way you can be, now you're standing on actual solid ground. Yeah. You're not just standing on the dream part. Yeah. And I think that we lose that a little bit.
It definitely sucked, but I learned so much, and I needed a break. Those 2 spaces, we were going 1,000, no break, teaching every class, screaming. I had no voice. I didn't feel like myself. The pandemic, despite deaths and all the things that happened, was probably the best thing that ever happened.
Yeah, I call it the great pause.
Yeah, I needed that. I needed some sleep. I got my health back. I felt energized, and it let me focus. And I
know it's true because I saw you less.
Yeah, I'm sorry.
He's like, my hip. Usually before that, I was like, Tim, fix my hip. That happened. I didn't hear from the man at all.
It probably bothered me right now, but we ain't gonna talk about that right now. I might have tweaked it the other day doing some squats.
Don't worry, after the show, that's the whole premise. You see, I'm still working in my scrubs because we got to go do this work after the session. So, so what's something that you think that is informative for people that you've learned over, like, say, the last 6 months? Because a lot of times we can talk, the long history about a person, but you've learned more in the last 6 months about something that you want to do in the future based upon the things that has happened in your past. What is something that you're looking forward to?
I'm looking forward to, so I think business-wise, this is very important.
Okay.
I am finally looking towards, like, creating my business in a way that gives me my time back.
There you go.
So,
you gotta get off the floor.
Yeah, and I love coaching. I still want to be in it, but less. I want to be impactful and still teach because I still have that itch. But now I'm just working on, like, my business, how to kind of hand stuff off, which is very hard for me. So hire, get people involved. You take care of this, your sales, your advertising. And I just get to do what I'm really good at. I'm the creative. I'm the entrepreneur. Let me just manage that and get the ideas, but then have somebody else to help me facilitate those ideas, get them on paper, and get them out there. So getting my time back. So creating online programming, creating, like, follow-along programming, remote stuff. So things where, like, I can be impactful, help the people I want to help, still serve the community, but be able to be home with my growing daughter and maybe take a trip with my family and still have things run and still be making some money. And
at the same time, have the confidence to know that you've put things in place, that the security is there. Because the mental security as an entrepreneur is probably one of the hardest things to get. I've been here in this building for 12 years. And, the lifts are different just because the foundation of my mind is stronger. But the work is still going to be the work.
Right.
So making sure that we walk out of the situation and understand that being in this business is it's a labor of love, but it doesn't have to be your prison either. You know what I mean? So that way we don't lose the enthusiasm of why we started. That's an imperative part that I want people to take away, is that being in this position, we usually have the perspective of being of color and having these barriers initially. The entry point is a little hard. And then the amazing part is that I love the fact that I know that we can scare the hell out of most competition by just being in the room.
Absolutely.
Because then that wonder of how we got into the room becomes like, how did they get in here? Because there was no nepotism. There was no favoritism. There was just a crack in the door. And when you give somebody a crack, that crack
game over.
Is a gaping hole of opportunity for someone who wants something. And so I want this to be, it's not a coming of age story. It's just, you have to seek your opportunities because your skill set was a gift. Your ability is a gift. What you work with that ability. And that's why I like the Kobe Bryant reference, right? Kevin Garnett has this quote. He said, Kobe Bryant was the most basic 6'6" player in the NBA. He's the most average player. He didn't have the extra athleticism. He didn't have the jumping ability like Michael Jordan. His vertical leap was 38. Michael Jordan's was like 48. Technically Vince Carter still has the most athleticism of anybody who's ever played the two-guard position. He said, but he had a Mercedes-Benz, but he drove it like a Bugatti.
Yeah.
You didn't. He says, someone asked Kobe, he says, I'm only saying this closer because it was the anniversary of his passing. And he said, Kobe, are you ever nervous? His response was so direct that he scared the person. He goes, no. He goes, why aren't you ever nervous? He says, because I've done everything from a preparatory perspective to put me in position to know that I've done everything I need to do, so there's no point of being nervous.
Yeah. And you're going to have a good day, you're going to have a bad day, regardless. But if the work is there,
it's going to still show.
Yeah, it's going to show.
It's going to still show. Speaking of work, I have a small gift for you today. Outside of the fact that, when you get on the Melanated Medicine Podcast, you get a massage. So for those who want to come on, I got to be invited, by the way. You're just not going to just get us up.
You're about to get a whole lot of messages.
So timber shoulders. So the best part about today is that I like to give gifts for people that they don't expect. And the gift that you got today is that somebody that has sponsored this podcast.
Okay. Here we go.
So should we let you take a guess of who sponsored it? I don't know if I didn't ask you to speak. No. See, this is the Gemini part. So I don't know how Aquariuses work, but the Gemini, we talk to ourselves a lot.
Just a little bit.
All right. So, person from in your industry. Okay. So group fitness, helpful. And please shout out to Harlem Cycle has sponsored today's episode. And hold on. I got an applause for that. Yeah. I got an applause button for that one. So Harlem Cycle did not know that they were sponsoring because Harlem Cycle is here, and they're like, wait, I'm sponsoring this. Yes, you are, because the key thing is that when your money circulates within your community, it never actually leaves. Yep. So we want to make sure that you knew that you have a gift. So you getting the sponsorship, you're getting a massage. They also didn't know, so it's actually even more fun that they realize now that they have paid something for it. But it's an important part that we make sure that we also, I like to, shameless plug, I actually took my first instructor class at Harlem Cycle, so I'm technically an instructor. So I've paid into Harlem Cycle. So it's just an important part that we make sure that I'm also doing it so other people know about the business that we know.
Yep.
You know what I mean? So I don't need a sponsor that comes outside of our community because we know too many people with businesses. And other people that would want these to watch this should also know that we know those businesses. Yep. So we're not just taking money. We're only making rock with people who we rock with. So, yeah, you're welcome.
I appreciate it.
Yeah, whatever. Okay. But that being said.
What's an hour, 90 minutes? What's the massage? I like specifics.
No, you don't. You don't need the specifics, man. I cleared it with your wife. Okay, I talked to your wife to make sure that the child is good and you okay.
As long as she okay with it, I'm all set.
I knew what I was doing, brother. Start there. So, but that being said, give me. Here's your three things. Okay, yep. I'm going to start. I'm not going to give you all. I'm giving it one at a time. Right. So the first one is tell the audience something that they need to know about your business.
Need to know about my business.
Need to know.
Need to know. Not
what you want them to know. What's something that they need?
I know that you need to know that this is a place you need to be. If you're thinking about...
Hold on. Air horn. Okay, good.
If you are someone who is looking to get started or has been training, if you haven't found a community or a collective of people or just a space that feels comfortable, that allows you to be confident, that lets you see results, that lets you be around people that look like you for the most part.
Come on.
This is a perfect space.
Okay.
If you're looking to get stronger, you want to get in shape, you want to be in a collective, in a community with really good vibes, great music, positive attitudes, and a leader who leads by example.
Okay.
I'm in the mix. I'm there. I know everybody. I'm not that owner who's like off somewhere else. And
we actually need to get him off the floor a little bit more because he's always there.
Well, that's the gift, though. I think that's what people.
You also can tell that you want to be there, so that's also a good thing.
And it's just nice to be able to mix it up with people, have banter, because there's a comfort level there when you're able to see everybody and connect with the coaches and connect with the owner. Right. But still do it in a way where it doesn't screw up the business. There's still professionalism.
Fair. There's a line. All right, but hold on. Here's number two. Yep. I want you to tell the audience something that has inspired you. What is a lesson that you've taken that you want to give to somebody to inspire them?
Something that has inspired me. Oof, man, these are good questions, man.
Listen, I'm not rookie at this, man.
Good question. Come on. Something that has inspired.
Something that is inspiring you, something that inspired you that you want to tell to them. Because people, we learn from what we see, not necessarily from what we know, right? So you see something, you go, oh, that might be possible.
So, I think my daughter being born has inspired me a lot.
That's huge.
It's just changed my perspective on what's important, how I manage my time. So I'm inspired to, continue to grow my business and do it in a way where I now have somebody else to take care of and manage and make sure that she's good. So I'm thinking about her in every decision that I make now, which is kind of crazy because I've always been just on my own and doing what I need to do for me.
Sure.
So she's inspired me to be a little bit more strategic, more intentional about every little thing. So, but I also recognize all the things that aren't important, and I'm able to get away from that. So that's some inspiration. And again, I think over the last 6 months, I've been able to do a lot of great things because everything I'm doing is very specific. So I got to be on Pix 11 late last year. I got to be on Good Morning America to start the year.
Come on.
I got some work coming up with WNBC this week coming up. So, like, things are falling into place because the direction is very, very specific.
And clear. The direction is clear and specific. So you don't worry about hitting every single thing that you want. Be specific as to the thing that you know you're focusing on. And lastly is third. I don't know if you're prepared for this situation. Okay, I'm going to try not to be as dramatic as I usually am. At this stage of life, what are you most grateful for?
Definitely my health. That
was the answer.
Of course.
That was the. I hope that you got that.
My health for sure. I feel great. Most people would never know, but I'm turning 40 in 14 days. Hold on.
Those are the crickets.
Yeah.
Okay, because he's turning 40.
This is a big one for me. But,
Listen. You've never been here before, so I want you to enjoy it.
So, I think my health is super important. Like,
yes, sir.
I've never stopped moving. I've never stopped playing sports. I'm super active. I take care of myself. For the most part, I prioritize that. Without that, I can't do any of the things I'm doing right now. And
That's
so,
a fact.
I need to be active. My job calls for me to be active, up on my feet. So there's no way for me to do this at the high capacity with the intention if I'm not taking care of myself.
Fair.
And again, I do this for myself, but now, again, my family, my friends,
Yeah.
I want to make sure that I can be a representation.
Yes, sir.
Right? I love when I look at my high school friends and they're like, yeah, you still look like that? That's a beautiful feeling.
Oh yeah, no, that's a real flex.
Yeah, like
living your life and you still look the same. That's a flex in itself.
So health is it, man. You don't have that, it's downhill from there. So.
Yeah. Well, I appreciate you taking some time to sit in this podcast with us and being the first person who's actually been able to sit on the blue chair, sitting down with us to talk about this thing. And now we can get to work and get you feel a little bit better and send you back to your family with a better sense of self.
Appreciate it. And a better hip. So,
there's only but so much we can do, people. Okay, and so part of that movement is going to come with a cost. So let me hit my theme music. Yeah. All right. So thank you guys for tuning into the Melanated Medicine Podcast. Please like, share, subscribe. But I want you to share with people who you know have like-mindedness like yourselves, because we want people to get here and stay here. All right. Peace to the kings and queens. We'll see you on the next episode. Let's go help you out, man.
Peace.
All right. Peace. Rolling.